Okay, we are a couple minutes early, but I think we will go ahead and get started. So part of the Buddhist world, when they start a service, they will come up and like incense candles. Um, when you're going to observe that, you guys want to come up and participate. But- If you guys want to come up and do that as well, feel free to do so. Don't, nothing that we do here is required or follow the authority, so if you don't feel like doing it, if you do, okay, great, come on. Okay, and for those who have not been here before, you have the order of service over there with the, all right, you already have video. In which case, the next thing we're going to do is we'll be doing the traditional three vows. Again, nothing that we do is obligatory. If you feel like joining, do feel free to do so, but if you don't feel like joining, don't feel like you have to. So the three vows, a little bit of chanting, and then we'll move directly into meditation. Do we want to do a little bit of extra meditation, or actually, no, I said we like a little bit short. How much meditation do we want to do today? 5 minutes? Okay, that works. Is there anyone who would like to offer a chant from their home tradition? We're learning meditation. Can you just practice what you're saying? Because okay. In which case, we would recommend meditation to be a short 5-minute meditation. So the meditation will be just a short 5-minute meditation because there's a very long passage of your name and the interactive portion is going to take up a nice chunk of time. So we'll shorten the meditation and let me know when you guys are ready. So with this service, it's always kind of a weird question. Do I go with the birth story, or do I go with the mother's side of the house? Because we have her side of the house as well. We have her story, and it's actually pretty interesting. Um, Sometimes I'll mix and match a little bit. But I think today I'm going to save Mother's Day service for a little bit later on in here. So we will read what the Buddha's mother wrote, maybe in a couple of weeks. Um, so for today's service, the thing that we're going to be reading, if you have your copy on, this is on 50 and 54. Yeah. So I'm going to try as best I can to skip over most of the repeated portions because I know that was a valid thing, and that was how they did things back then. You had to learn by memorizing. You memorize best by repeating. I actually don't necessarily need that now. But it's still part of the record, part of how we do things. So I'm going to try as best I can to minimize that a little bit. The thing to note about this is what we're talking about here is mostly Ananda, that's the Buddha's kind of cousin and companion on the path. And this is him talking to a bunch of the monks, and everybody kind of comes in a little bit and is like, oh, okay, what are they talking about? All right, and so they kind of explain it. So, thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Buddha was living in Savatthi, Jedda's Grove, and Atapinika's Park. Now, a number of monks were sitting in the assembly hall where they had met together on returning from their alms round. After their meal, when this discussion arose among them, it is wonderful, friends. It is marvelous how mighty and powerful is the Buddha. For he is able to know about the Buddha's past, to attain final nirvana, cut the tangle of proliferation, broke the cycle, ended the round, and surmounted all suffering. That for those blessed ones, their birth was thus, their names were thus, their plans were thus, their moral discipline was thus, their qualities of concentration, their wisdom, and their meditative lovings, and their liberation were all thus. When this was said, the Venerable Ananda told the monks, friends, to talk about the Buddhas are wonderful and have wonderful qualities. Buddhas are marvelous and have marvelous qualities. However, their discussion was interrupted. For the Buddha rose from meditation in the evening, went to the assembly hall, and sat down on a seat made ready. When he addressed the monks thus, monks, what discussion are you sitting together now? And what was your discussion that was interrupted? Here, Venerable Sir, that is there talking to the Buddha. We were sitting in the assembly hall when this discussion arose amongst us. It is wonderful, friends. It is marvelous. Their liberation, through their liberation with us. When this was said, the Venerable Ananda said to us, friends, Buddhas are wonderful and have wonderful qualities. Buddhas are marvelous and have marvelous qualities. This was our discussion, Venerable Sir, that was interrupted when you arrived. Then the Buddha addressed Venerable Ananda, that being so, Ananda, explain more fully the Buddha's wonderful and marvelous qualities. And here we enter the Buddha's birth story. And this is from Ananda himself. I have heard and learned this, Venerable Sir, from the Buddha's own mouth. Mindful and clearly comprehending, the Bodhisattva appeared in the teach to heaven. That mindful and clearly comprehending remained in the teach to heaven. For the whole of his lifespan, the Bodhisattva remained in his teach to heaven. Mindful and clearly comprehending, the Bodhisattva passed away from the teach to heaven and descended into his mother's womb. When the Bodhisattva passed away from the teach to heaven and descended into his mother's womb, an immeasurable great radiance surpassing the divine majesty of all the devas appeared in the world with his devas Mara Brahman, and his population with his monks and Brahmins, with his devas and human beings, and even in those abysmal world vacant intervals of vacancy, gloom, and utter darkness, where the moon and the sun Mighty and powerful as they are, cannot make their light prevail. There too, an immeasurable great radiance, surpassing the divine majesty of the day was appeared. And the beings reborn there perceive each other by. So indeed, there are other beings born here, which is kind of important. We'll look at that. And then this 10,000-fold world system shook, quaked and trembled, and again an immeasurable great radiance surpassing the divine majesty of the deities appeared in the world. When the Bodhisattva had descended into his mother's womb, 4 young devas came to guard him at the 4 quarters so that no humans or non-humans or anyone at all harm the Bodhisattva or his mother. He has an armed guard. Great. So when the Bodhisattva had descended into his mother's womb, she became intrinsically virtuous, refraining from killing living beings, from taking what is not given, from sexual misconduct, from false speech, and from wines, liquors, and intoxicants, the basis of negligence. And she's practicing the 5 precepts that we chanted a little bit earlier, which is pretty awesome. Other women give birth after carrying a child in the womb for 9 or 10 months, but not so the Buddha's mother, the Bodhisattva's mother. The Bodhisattva's mother gave birth to him after carrying him in her womb for exactly 10 months. Okay. Other women give birth seated or lying down. Not so the Bodhisattva's mother. The Bodhisattva's mother gave birth to him standing up. When the Bodhisattva came forth from his mother's womb, first devas received him, then human beings. When the Bodhisattva came forth from his mother's womb, he did not touch the ground. The 4 young devas received him and set him before his mother, saying, "Rejoice, O Queen, a son of great power has been born to you." When the Bodhisattva came forth from his mother's womb, he came forth unsullied, unsmeared by water, tumors, blood, or any kind of impurity, clean and unsullied. Suppose there were a gem placed on fine cloth, then the gem would not smear the cloth, or the cloth smeared the gem. Why is that? Because of the purity of both. So too, when the Bodhisattva came forth, he came forth from his womb. And here we have a slight differentiation between the Mahayana Siddhas and the Theravada. When he came forth from his mother's womb, 2 jets of water appeared to pour from the sky, one cool and one warm, for bathing the Bodhisattva and his mother. As soon as the Bodhisattva was born, he stood firmly with his feet on the ground. He then took 7 steps facing, depending on the translation, north or all of the directions, and with a white parasol held over him, he surveyed each quarter and uttered the words of the leader of the herd. "I am the highest in the world, I am the best in the world, I am the foremost." And when the Bodhisattva came forth from his mother's womb, an immeasurable great radiance, again surpassing the divine majesty of the day, appeared in the world. And this extended to all different parts of all of the different realms, such that even those in the various hell realms could see each other and say, "Oh, there's other beings here. Wow, okay, we're not alone." This too has a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Buddhas. Here in Ananda, for the Buddhas, feelings are known as they arise, as they are present, as they disappear. Perceptions are known as they arise, as they are present, as they disappear. Thoughts are known as they arise, as they are present, as they disappear. Remember this too, Ananda, as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Buddhas. That is what the Venerable Ananda said. The teacher approved, and the monks were satisfied and delighted in the words. Right? So, going back to that one little passage before we get into all of the fun, lovely stuff that happened, the kind of difference between the Mahayana version and the Theravada version is not exactly so. Right? So the Theravada side says there was a cool jet of water and a warm jet of water that came to wash it. The Mahayana side says the dragon king of the area, right, the king of the Nagas, knew that the Buddha had been born and was like, "Okay, let's make this happen." So he sent not only a warm rain and then a cool rain, but he also sent a rain of flowers, which is why we have everything set up here. I have the baby Buddha standing up, as is in the traditional posture, right? One finger up, one finger down. And he is surrounded by sweet tea. Why would I choose sweet tea? Because you need cold water and hot water to make tea, right? You also need flowers. Tea doesn't exist without flowers, right? So tea has traditionally been what we bathe the baby Buddha in, and so that's what we get to do today. We get to have that experience of saying, okay, well, we're taking the place of the dragon king today, and we're in charge here, right? So we are going to be bathing the baby Buddha, as is traditional. And I'll show you guys how to do that in just a second. But let's go back and read through this. Let's go back and look at the story a little bit. Right, so Ananda is listing all of these crazy things, all of these weird things, all of these unusual things, all of these marvelous, like astounding, amazing things. In that very passage, there was a reference to 27 Buddhas before the Buddha of our time. So the Buddha could recollect all of them, even though they kind of been lost to history for the rest of us. So he was able to recall all of them and say, all of us had this similar thing happen. Right, so if we see that in the world, we know, oh, this is what's going on. So the basics of the story go, he had been, from one of his previous incarnations, he had been reborn into the Tushta heaven, where ultimately his mother went. I'll get to that at the end. So he's up there, and finally it is time to come down to earth and become the Buddha. Had happened, and so he comes down. Queen Maya, her name means illusion or vision, depending on who you translate it. So Queen Maya had this vision, which is her namesake, and as she looked, kind of like going into her side, and she had no idea what it was, or like what was going on. So she went to the king and was like, I had this dream, this thing happened, and I don't know what it is. And he's like, call in my seers, we're gonna figure this out. Okay, you're about to give birth to something really awesome. And she's like, oh, didn't know I was pregnant, but okay, cool, good deal. All right, and so that was what she kind of, so baby Buddha descended into her womb and started growing, and 10 months later, exactly 10 months later, right, because that was a big deal, right? Exactly 10 months later, not 9 and a half or 10. It was exactly 10 months later, out comes the Buddha from his mother's womb, and he is received. So as she's giving birth, she was trying as best she could to follow the customs of the time, right? So the reason why she gave birth where she did was because she was trying to make it home to her parents' house. That would have been absolutely the tradition. You would have gone home to mom and dad's house so that you could have your child in the presence of mom, right? Because mom would know how to take care of it. Mom should know. So she was on her way there, and all of a sudden, the labor, she saw this grove of trees that were just, it was unbelievably beautiful. The flowers were in bloom, they smelled great, and she's like, let's stop and take a break. So they did. All of a sudden, labor pains come on. And so there, right in the middle of the forest, in the middle of this nice grove of beautiful trees, she's sitting there standing up, holding onto one of these trees, and out comes the Buddha. And obviously, as was mentioned, he did not hit the ground. The Devas kind of received him and said, oh, okay, let's hold on to him for a second. And then they presented him to his mother and said, hey, look, awesome kid, right? Long story short. So that was the way it was, and she sent word back and said, look, we didn't make it, but we have a kid, we have a son. And obviously his father, the king, is like, yes, this is awesome, this is incredible. And so he goes and he sets up this big old party and invites everybody to it. He's like, yes, this is the thing. And so she makes her way back, and her friends makes their way back. And as they arrive, one of the seers is like probably one of the king's chief seers, looks at the Buddha and says, oh, this guy's got two destinies. He's going to do life and nothing else. He's either going to take over the entire world, conquer everything. Say that first one again for me. That thing about the conquering, that part right about taking over everything. As dad's looking, right? Especially a dad who's a king who kind of wants to make sure that the kingdom goes on. And so he's like, yes, this is great, this is extra great. And the seer is like, this kind of sucks because I'm not going to be able to see this. And he knew he wouldn't, right? He knew that he was too late in life to watch and see this happen. And he did. So Queen and Baby get back, and they've got this prophecy that he's going to do one of these two things. Well, Maya doesn't make it that long. So a week after Buddha is born, his mother dies, and Queen, or her sister, had to kind of step in and take over, which was, I mean, nobody wants to be in that spot, right? Enough said on that one. It's like, hey, sister, I had a kid, and now I'm dead. You have fun with that. Not a great spot. But she came in with grace, and she took care of it. The important piece there is also right at the end, right? So we saw that all of these interesting, amazing, marvelous, wonderful things happen, right? The light going down to all of the different realms, including all of the health realms and the other realms where people are kind of suffering. In these different realms, suddenly notice that they're not alone. They suddenly get that spark that allows them the ability, it doesn't guarantee, but it allows them the ability to kind of reflect and say, oh, that's where I am. Okay, maybe I should get out of here. Right? So they were given that opportunity with that. And also important is that the last piece of the announcement right there, where the Buddha says, also remember this piece, right? Remember that in relation to what they are, right? That's an important piece too, because that says, okay, you start out, right? If you were a bodhisattva, you start out with that, right? You start out life with that kind of knowledge. Where do you go with it from there? According to the Theravada, there's only one destination. You're going to go. According to the Mahayana, maybe it's not a little longer, depending. Right? So that's it. I know I've kind of gone quite long on the discussion. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of observe the Buddha's birth by participating in what parts of the activity we can, right? So I have obviously set up a nice little grove, a nice little forest of flowers. There was the standard offerings that he would have received. And yes, right there in the middle, we have the Buddha with a whole bunch of sweet tea around him. So I'm going to show you guys how we bathe the baby Buddha tradition. So, and yes, I try to keep it to where we're not going to make too much of a mess. So we would typically grasp the ladle with the right hand. I'm not right-handed, so this is going to be a little weird. We lift a ladle of sweet tea, one to represent the cool water, one to represent the warm water, and one to represent the flowers. Now, these could also be substituted for the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. If you can make a mess, it's not what we do with this. So, those who would like to play the part of the Dragon King and bathe the baby Buddha, may feel free to do so now.